All right, good morning to those of you who are here and those of you viewing by the DNU live feed. We're here this morning to surprise the public and to talk to you with regard to an incident that happened here a couple months ago that affects us but also has the potential of affecting so many other people. And we want to share some thoughts on it. With me is Anel Jones and his wife Cornelia. And they both will share with us, and I will share some thoughts. I'll take any questions from the media who's here in that regard. Now, let me just upfront say that this is already a matter of police investigation, so we will not get into any depth of that investigation at all. We will definitely not prejudice that investigation as the police do their work in that regard. We respect and regard what they do in that regard. But we will have some comments from Anel in just a while, and then from Colin. And we will share what we'd like to see going forward as far as early childhood education is concerned, which is the matter here, really and truly. So let me turn to the father of Carrie, Anel, as he shares briefly with us, just recounting briefly what happened from his perspective. Anel Jones.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, listeners. That day on Tuesday, 10th of January, like normal day, that's how it is at our home. A normal day meaning that Carrie wakes up, she's vibrant, she's healthy, she's waiting for her normal hugs and kisses from her parents, On that particular morning, around 3 o'clock in the morning, she woke up to play. She woke up to play with her parents, she woke up to play with my wife and I. She was tired, so I, as a father, had to be the strong one and keep myself up to play with her. She didn't want it to go down for her to practice her walking, and I said, not tonight. So that's what she has grown accustomed to. And that morning, we thought that when we woke up, we thought that she would sleep longer. That didn't happen. Carrie is always she always wants to be up, to be running, just excited about life. Healthy, happy, bouncing baby. And that's our princess. She woke up with a big smile, bright eyes. A normal Carrie smile. I will just captivate you if you get to know her. So we drop her off at the daycare, usual time around 9 o'clock. She was a bit fussy, but usually we just figure that because she's so attached to us, she is attached to my wife and I, and we just figure that's just normal baby behavior, She won't let us go because we're attached to her, she's attached to us. And we dropped her off, and I went to work, dropped my wife to work. And about 12:30, my wife received a call from the daycare stating that they took Carrie to the hospital. Our happy bouncing baby that we just had on bed 3 o'clock in the morning up until we took her out from the house, that she was brought to the hospital because she is unresponsive. They said that she was being fed. That's the only thing that they told my wife. So my wife and I know that Carrie has no prior medical issues at all. She hasn't. She's fine. We left her fine. She has been fine. 13 months old, growing up well. So my wife called me and informed me that happened. I didn't wait for anything else. I left work. I got to the hospital as fast as I could. I saw my wife in the waiting room, and the nurse told me, just wait in there with us. So I'm asking what's going on, what is going on, what is wrong? And all the time going down to the hospital, I keep on telling myself, what is wrong? I hope it's just something minor. Her finger squeeze. I hope she didn't fall. I hope she didn't bruise her face. She didn't, but we left her fine. And I called the doctor and I told her what's going on. She said that your daughter we're working on her. So I said, why are you working on her? She said, because she's not breathing. We stayed in the room, pain, anguish, a lot of pain, because we left our baby, we dropped our baby up to the daycare. Fine. Why is she in the hospital right now? Unresponsive. Two doctors came and they said that they brought someone, the daycare owner, the daycare personnel brought Carrie to the hospital because she was unresponsive. They were able to recover food from the daycare. It wasn't food that we gave her. Food from the daycare and fluid from her lungs. They did all the life-saving measures that they could, and they weren't able to save her. At that time, I was shocked. I went blank. I couldn't think. I just kept on screaming from the top of my lungs. My daughter's name, Carrie. The nurses rushed, held on to me, tried to control me, tried to keep me calm, because I just kept on crying and asking for it. One nurse came and she asked, what did I need? I said, I need my brothers, which are police officers. And my brothers at the SSU task force, the police on a whole, and they came in numbers. Sergeant John Lewis, Corporal George, Sergeant Sai, and they held on to me, Gasha, and they held on to me, and they kept on telling me that they were there for me. My pastor arrived, and he himself kept me in check, along with them. Later that moment, a few minutes felt like hours. Pastor said that they wouldn't even carry me. They want to see her. They want to see her, of course, it's my daughter. I have to. So we brought her in, and the whole family was in anguish and pain. The entire hospital was in anguish and pain. Nurses that were there were crying as well. And I picked up and I sang her favorite song, which is Remember Me. I held on to her, because that's a song I sing for every night before she goes to sleep. I used to love putting my daughter to sleep. And not like that. Remember me. Put her back down to the bed that they brought in, and they had to take her away. My happy bouncing, healthy baby. Pass.
Thanks, Anel. That's Anel's account of that fateful day on January 10th. And people are emotional as you would expect them to. It's been 2 months, a little over 2 months, but you can't get rid of that emotion at all. Okay? Now, as a consequence to that and our discussions together, there are some things that the family feels very strongly about, and we've been in discussions about, and Connie will share with us some of the things that she would like to see happen as far as taking care of children in a daycare is concerned, as far as management and whatever thoughts are. And I will share some other thoughts with you following that. And then we'll have some questions in that regard. Cornelia Charles Jones is Carrie's mother. And of course, mothers always have certain opinions that fathers can have sometimes. So Connie will share that with us. And once she shares that with us, then we will share some other thoughts and have some questions. Connie.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone who's listening, everyone who's here. Thank you for tuning in. As you can well imagine, these last 2 months have probably been our lowest, have been the worst. Sometimes it just feels that I'm telling my husband sometimes that I feel like we are stuck on January 10th and everybody else is moving by. Because Carrie was our joy. Carrie was our joy. Carrie was touched by. Carrie impacted at such a young age. She impacted everyone. She had this presence at just 13 months, and you could see it in her eyes. Carrie was loved, and you can see the picture behind us. You can see her eyes. Carrie was so beautiful inside and out, and she could make you smile. I remember she was so. Even at that age, babies, they are so in tune with your emotions. I remember last August when I lost a close friend of mine, and when I got the news, Carrie was with me, and Carrie cried just because I was crying. And she could feel, and Carrie was everything to us, and we gave her, in that 13 months, we gave her everything we had. We gave her all our love, our time. Carrie, just an example, Carrie bumps and so, we would run literal. Our hearts were into Carrie so much. She was for Anel and myself. She was everything. She was everything to us. And when that day on January 10th, I can tell you, it's something that we are still working through. It's something that we still don't understand. It's something that we are recovering from, and we are trying to our best to heal. And everyone will say time heals, and maybe it does, but we want to remember Carrie, and I think it's no coincidence that one of her favorite songs, that Anel said it, and I can tell it's no exaggeration, when Carrie would be fussy, her father would sing that song to her, Remember Me, from that movie Coco on Disney, Though I Have to Say Goodbye, remember me, don't let it make you cry, for even if I'm far away, I'll hold you in my arms, I'll sing a secret song to you. Each night we are apart. Remember me, though I have to say goodbye. Remember me, don't let it make you cry. For even if I'm far away, I'll hold you in my arms. And for us, that is what we are here doing. And if you look at our family right now, we have this thing that we have, remember her name, Carrie Maya Symphony Jones. And this is what we are doing to remember her name. And I was telling Anel yesterday that this pain that we feel, I would not wish it on my worst enemy. For you to lose your first and only child at such a young age, I would not wish it on my worst enemy. And for me, as a mother in pain, I still think of others out there, other children out there, and my heart pains for children who are in daycares. And you know, as a parent, you are at work 7-8 hours a day, and you are wondering, and you are hoping, and you are trusting people with your child, and you are hoping that your child's receiving the best care possible, but you still you don't know, because you go on someone's referral that, you know, that this is the best place. You go on a family's referral that this is the best place, a co-worker's referral that this is the best place, and you trust that this is the best place. And you pick up your child and you ask, you know, how was she today? And they tell you, well, she was good, she ate all her food, and you go home thinking, you know, this is the best place. But really and truly, you don't know whether or not, wherever you put your child, you are literally just taking a chance, you know, with your child when you put them in a daycare. Even if you trust somebody, because you as a parent, you know that no care for your child is better than what you yourself provide, so you trust other people. And I think here in Dominica, we take a lot of things excuse me, I think sometimes we are too lax with certain things, and we are too lax with certain policies, and these are our children. Excuse me. These are our children, and I think we as a country, policymakers, we need to take care of our children. We need to put things in place to safeguard our children. And if it starts with Anel and myself shaking things up, if it starts with Anel and myself starting a fire, then that is how it's going to be done. If it's just the two of us starting something, then it's going to be done, because this cannot happen to somebody else. This cannot happen to another child. And this is what we want, and this is why today we want to talk about the Carrie law. And this Carrie law will be a policy for daycares and nurseries. And we have been in talks with attorneys. We have had very successful meetings, as Pastor expound on later. And we have a framework, and we have something that I'm hoping that we will get the support of the public, get the support of the policy makers, because this is not something that has to be forgotten, because this impacts future generation. If Anel and I have a child, another child today or tomorrow, we want to know that, you know, I'm telling you, I am traumatized by this, so much to the point where if I have another child, my gosh, I don't know how I'll put another child in a daycare, regardless of where it is, honestly. And this shouldn't be the case for new parents. You know, you should trust that there is a policy governing, and this policy, this Carrie law that, you know, we are in talks and we are developing, we wanted to focus on three things: on licensing. On licensing for daycares. You know, who can open a daycare? Is there an age limit? Can somebody who is, let's say, 21, because that person is home, can they just decide, you know, I have space in my living room, so I'm going to open a daycare and start advertising for a daycare? So who can open a daycare? You know, Are these places inspected? Are they certified? Are they safe? Is it on the, can you have daycares on the second floor of a building with a balcony? Are daycares only supposed to be on the ground floor? So these are some things that, you know, we are discussing to have included. We want to have training. How do you take care of a child? How do you feed a child? How do you bathe a child? You know, life-saving measures in the event that something happens to a child in your care. What are the steps taken to protect that child, to save that child's life? Are daycare owners supposed to be trained in CPR? You know, life-saving measures. How many children to one person? That needs to be stipulated. We can't have a daycare with 10 children and only one person looking after 10 children, ranging from 3 months all the way to 3 years. That's crazy. And these are things that we want to address. You know, we want to address issues of insurance. If something happens to your child in the care of the daycare owner, who's liable for it? Who's liable for that? So when you talk about insurance, and a special thing that we want to talk about, we have done the research on it, and it is possible, and it will provide some sort of security for parents. We've been looking at some places where they have cameras inside of daycares, and parents can access those cameras through apps on their phone. So possibly if you want to tune in to see what is going on with your child, you know, you can do that. And this is what we are talking about. We want to have a board who will be responsible for enacting that CARI law, will be responsible for ensuring that places are licensed, training, insurance, you know, responsible for these things. Because really and truly, it's not just for me. This idea really and truly came to us maybe a few days after all this happened, because in our hearts we really felt that this cannot happen again. I remember a few years ago, a baby passed away at another daycare, and you heard about it for a few minutes, you heard about it for a few months, and then after that it just went cold. I can guarantee you this will not happen in this case. Everyone will remember the name CARI Jones, because CARI Jones is going to be the catalyst for change. CARI Jones will be the catalyst for this law. Our children in Dominica will be protected. We are not just protecting children from child abuse, you know, from sexual abuse. We need to protect our children from all forms of danger. We cannot leave it up to others to do it for us. We need to do it. And again, CARI Jones will be the catalyst. You will be hearing this name again and again and again. You will not get tired of hearing this name. CARI Jones will be synonymous with proper childcare. CARI Jones will be synonymous with protection for our children. And listen, this is hard. This is something that's very difficult, but we feel so strongly about it only because as a parent, as a mother, I would not be able to live with myself if we did not do something to use this as a springboard to safeguard other children. Yes, CARI is no longer here with us, but we can do something for someone else, and that's the reason why we are here today. Thank you.
Right, thanks, Connie and Anil. In summary, what this is about the state, in our view, taking responsibility for children as specified in the UN Convention. The protection of the child is a very important thing for us. And the death of Carrie brings that to the fore. We are aware, and our investigations and our questions have shown that there was some draft policy document in 2012, and we also understand that there is some redrafting being done maybe a year or two ago. Our read, though, indicates that neither of these documents go far enough to protect children. The issues of non-discrimination and so on that are in those documents are valid and they have their place. But this matter with Carrie's death brings to the fore the actual physical health and safety of these children. Daycares has become a money earner for people sometimes who are at home. Is that how we're going to continue doing this? Or are we going to legislate that if you want to have a daycare, you need to have minimum qualifications? After all, a nurse has to get minimum qualifications, and everybody else in that profession must get minimum qualifications. Are we going to mandate that for you to have a daycare where you take care of people's children, that there are going to be minimum qualifications? What is going to happen when you have something like what happened to this child? Our laws here really and truly does not even adequately demand compensation for parents who would lose their children or losing family. What happens? And Connie mentioned the whole ratio of child to caregiver. Just a few weeks ago, maybe coincidentally, or if you like, God directed, we were looking at what happened in the U.S. with the death of a child at the daycare, and the whole daycare facility was shut down by the government and made responsible, made liable for the death of this child. And what has come out of that is the ratio of child to caregiver, which should be no more than 4. We are aware that there are laws in Barbados and there is an oversight body in Barbados for that. We know what's happening in Jamaica in that regard. And we are aware that Dominica is party to the Caribbean Convention on this. We're not sure where we have any regulation or legislation in place to ensure that some things are done. And we are hoping that the state, and note I didn't say one party or the other, I'm talking about the state. We are hoping that the state will begin to tighten laws to safeguard its young people, its children. We all have children, we all desire to have children, and we need to ensure that we have proper legislation going forward for the protection of these children who go to daycare centers. And in doing that, what has to happen is some child safety law for those daycare centers. So that's what that is about. And I'm glad that Connie brought it so eloquently to you, that the intention really is to get that to get off the ground. And they have lost a child. As painful as this is, I believe that this will not just help them in the grieving process, but help them know that yes, their child died, but some other children can live, since they can't bring back their child. Some other children can live, some other children can be protected. Our information is that the daycare where this child died has since been reopened for business as usual. Are you reopening under the same conditions? Are the same people working in the place? How do you just get reopened? Is any licensing body there to decide, yes, you should reopen, you can reopen, but there must be certain things in place? What happens to the parents of this child? Is anybody concerned about how they live? How could they live without their child? And so I think this must be holistic. And in my humble view, along with Anel and Cornelia, I think the whole nation must rally around that, even the daycare providers, because they too need to come to the place where they are confident that should they have an incident, an accident in their place, they have some sort of public liability coverage that could compensate the individual for that, and they themselves are not held personally liable, as in the case of what happened in the U.S., for example. This business had just gone under because of the volume of the lawsuit that was placed against the particular institution in Florida. We're saying that even the daycare people have an interest in ensuring that the regulation is there to protect them and the children that they care for, and more so the parents who bring their children to these facilities. And that's the intention for this. That's where we stand, and that's where what we'd like to see going forward. If you have any questions, we'll take it.
Okay, good morning again. Very touching, and you're getting a lot of love from entire Dominica right now. Everybody's sending you their love and greetings and strength. One question is, how have you guys been coping for the past 2 months? How has it been for that period of time?
Yeah. Honestly, it has been like I said, the most difficult thing that I've ever had to deal with. I lost my father in 2012, and I thought that was bad. But as a mother, losing, your child that you carried for 9 months, basically a physical connection and a physical part of you was just 100 times worse. For Anel, it was everybody would say that Anel and everybody would see that when Anel and Carrie were together, mother would disappear, because that's her relationship with Anel. If let's say Anel has Carrie on him and I probably come to hug him, Carrie would literally watch me cut eyes, because that was her dad. And I remember this one time we were inside a store, and Anel had Carrie on him, and somebody came to talk to him, and Carrie literally turned her father's face away from the person because she's like, that's my time, that's my daddy, I have to ask permission. And that was just a sweetheart that Carrie is. And you asked me how we're coping, and honestly, it's these beautiful memories that we have. For some reason, we both, Anel and I, probably combined have no less than 2,000 pictures of Carrie in our phone, including my sister, my family. Probably combined, probably have 5,000 going, because every day we were snapping photos. Every day we were taking videos of Carrie, of doing every single thing, from eating to bathing to playing to sleeping, walking. And it's been difficult, honestly, in the first few weeks, actually accepting. And the mornings we would wake up and look around, and the mornings are the most difficult parts of it, because that's where Carrie would wake up smiling. And for us, coping has been going back to those 5,000 pictures and trying to relive those memories, those videos. Coping has been talking about Carrie. It was difficult to do at first. I could not even, it took me about a month to go back to my phone and look at photos of Carrie at the funeral, I could not even look at photos of Carrie. And one day I just sat down and I went back through it, and my husband and I, we would talk about Carrie, talk about everything would remind us of Carrie. From eating spaghetti, because she liked to hold the noodles in her hand, would remind us of Carrie. And these are the memories that are helping us to cope, because we know that Carrie, in her 13 months, she had a good life. And we gave her a good life, and Carrie left us with nothing but happy memories. And that's what has been helping us. And honestly, this Carrie law that we are focusing on has been helping us. We are putting our energies into it, because as I said, we don't want it to happen to anyone else. And we a lot of persons look at us and say, you know what, you guys are strong, and I would not be able to do this. And honestly, I tell people that it is not my strength, but it's because of our faith in God, and the love that we know that God has for us, and we for Him. That is what is keeping us going, because we don't have. Some days I wake up and I say to God, I don't want to be strong, just let me fall apart, give me just let me stay in my bed and curl under my covers, because that's what I want to do. Let me cry, let me have a breakdown, and I can't. And I know that it's God giving me that supernatural strength that I need. And He knows that if I break down, then we will not be able to do this Carrie law. And that's all we've been coping. I hope that answers the question.
Anything you want to add, Anel?
Every morning we wake up, in the morning is always the hardest, because that is where Carrie shines. She used to pretend to sleep when we would be up. She would hear us going, back and forth in the room, and she has a smile on her face. Mm-hmm. So I would come to her and tickle her and tell her, you're not sleeping. And that's when she would open the eyes and roll, and the memories that we have of Carrie, like my wife said, that is what is keeping us going. We try, especially waking up in the morning. Just the fact that we wake up in the morning to go to work, that's us trying. The fact that we go to church, that's how we're trying. The fact that we try and keep ourselves healthy and fit, to get our minds into a place of focus, that's how we're trying. The family that we have that keeps supporting us on my end, Cornelia's end, that's how we are doing it. We have the support of our co-workers, our families, church members, and that is how we have been doing it. Thanks.
Okay, and speaking to, in terms of the facility, the daycare facility, have you guys spoken to the owner or the lady that was present during the incident?
There's not been much communication, and like I said, it's a matter of a police investigation as well. And we just drop it at that. The communication has not been what I think it should have been. Okay.
Reading from in terms of the case and with the authorities or any relevant agencies, like for the law that is about to be passed, how long it will take till it happens, or you have to have more conversations with the proper authorities so that Carrie's law can be passed in Dominica?
Well, first we are working with the attorneys who will help draft something looking at all the regional legislation, the international legislation, what would be appropriate for here. When that is in a ready state, we will hopefully be at a position where we will submit it to the government, to the parliament, for submission via the ministries responsible. And we're hoping that once it gets to that stage, that they will act on it with earnest dispatch. For the simple reason that Connie keeps giving, that we do not believe that we must wait or keep waiting for more of these things to happen before we put the proper legislation in place. The intention is for the protection of the children, and that is right now the priority thing. So as far as the time is concerned, we can't put a timeline on it yet, but what we will say is as that grows and develops, when we probably have a first draft of what we think that should be, and we have submitted it, we'll talk to the public as far as that's concerned, and see how we move. Because, this is for Dominica. This is for every child. This is for the protection of, like I said, the daycare operators themselves, and for the parents of the children. Yeah? Any questions? All right. Well, if you have no more questions, we want to thank you very much, both Connie and Anel, on their behalf. I want to thank you for doing this, and we are hoping that we'll keep that again in the fall. It's been 2 months and a couple of days since that has happened, and I'm very proud of Anel and Cornelia for their move in that regard. They could not have spoken about that before without tearing up or getting angry or whatever the case is. And I'm sure that the Holy Spirit is working with them thoroughly for that work to be done. So let me thank you very much, those of you tuned in, those of you listening, and let me wish every one of you a blessed day, asking you to give every ounce of your support to that move, to that initiative. Speak to your parliamentary representative so that by the time that law gets into the hand of the head of government, that there will be some positive movement in that area to make sure that happens. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.